We're definitely at a crossroads here with AI. I feel like I would tell people to you don't have to jump into it. Mm-hmm. Definitely know how to use it. Don't be afraid of it. I learned how to use like GitHub Copilot at work, and you can't just let it write everything for you. You know, that's the thing. It's not replacing us right now. One big thing that we kind of miss with remote is just people, like relationships. My first advice is definitely keep in contact with your network. Just meet up with people for coffee. Your network is going to be really helpful in getting you jobs and just learning things. And also just having people to give you advice is huge.
Yeah. Welcome to our next episode. What up, player?
What's going on?
D Hustle. Guess where we at, man?
San
Francisco. We out west, player. Can you believe it? We're really far away, and I have a special guest that we're going to have a conversation with this afternoon. It's one of somebody that I've seen start off from the beginning of time, bro, especially working at Twitter. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Step in the door. She was shining so bright at the beginning.
Can't wait.
So we are going to have a conversation with a really cool mentee of mine that I've had a pleasure working with at Twitter, see her growth, where she's at, and we're definitely going to fill that in. I want to welcome to the stage Meryl. Meryl, go ahead and give her a round of applause. Meryl, welcome to the stage.
Hey, thanks for having me.
What up, Meryl? How you doing?
Great.
How's San Fran been treating you?
It's been treating me well.
Yeah. You just got off the Caltrain, so you're making moves up from San Francisco all the way down south a little bit. We are in the South Bay, so those that are going to see me in a later episode when I say I'm in San Francisco, I'm in the South Bay right now, but we're going back up to Salesforce Towers where we're going to be hanging out a little bit later. But today we're dedicating our time to Meryl. Definitely. Give her a round of applause. So, Meryl, we're going to just kick our conversation off. And just like I mentioned to you during our pre-show is I definitely want to make sure that people hear your voice, hear your journey, and definitely like the impact that seeing somebody like me, roaming in the streets at Twitter, at the keyboard, but also how's that, impacted your journey overall. And we'll first start off with just give us a quick introduction about yourself. Let us know where you're from, and definitely when you got started in tech.
Yeah, I'm Meryl, obviously, you know that. I would say I got started in tech actually back in high school. I'm from Chicago. I had the
Chi-Town, Chicago. Yeah.
Shout out to all my Bulls fans out there.
Go Bulls. Go White Sox.
There you go.
Right.
Wow. You see how they call it out like that, right?
I like it.
Yeah, I had this really cool computer science teacher. He was really motivated to get more women into computer science. So he really aimed his classes at female students. I took computer science there.
Yeah.
I went to a really cool summer camp at Berkeley where I got to actually visit Twitter way back in like 2009.
Oh, look at that. She was over there before I even touched ground. So technically she was introducing me to Twitter, not me introducing to her.
Yeah, it was an amazing opportunity. It was a camp for Black and Latinx kids. And
that's what's up.
Really inspired me. So then I kept doing computer science. I majored in it in college.
Yeah. What school you went to?
I went to Brown.
Oh, big shout out to Brown University, right? Y'all had a whole crew that pulled up one internship summer, and I was like, dang, Brown is kind of deep out there, computer science. Big shout outs to them.
The funny thing is that when I first applied to Twitter, I think I was a sophomore in college. They weren't recruiting at Brown at all. So I just saw the job posting, I applied, I got the internship, and then I talked to the recruiters like Faria. And I was like, you really should be going to Brown. Ooh. And so I like told all these Brown students to come intern at Twitter because I had such an awesome time. So then in 2016, there were so many of us.
Yeah, let's put a pin right there because first of all, give her a big round of applause for sure. Because if you understand what I just heard is that you experienced something, and one of the things we had a challenge, especially working at Twitter on that time, is there was this idea like we can't find engineers that look like me and you. And obviously you taking the initiatives, applying, getting in. And then did you hear what she said? She said, y'all need to pull up to Brown because this not just me. We got more of them that look just like me come through. So big round of applause to Meryl. Thank you so much for that because it was a summer that was very noticeable how well diverse our class of internships were.
And shout out to you, man, giving everybody else the heads up too.
Yeah. Big
Not a
shout
lot of
outs.
people do that.
Yeah, big shout outs.
Yeah.
You see, I'm always bringing people that are supporting people, you know?
I hear you.
Yeah, big shout outs.
That's a gem.
So after that internship, or in terms of your tech career, graduating, going to Brown, getting an internship, how did everything else fold out for you?
Yeah, so during those internships, I was on a team called QE, and that's a team I joined full time when I was first at Twitter.
Yeah.
And there were some really
First, tell me what QE stands for.
Sorry, quality engineering.
Roger that.
Actually, at the time, it was quality assurance, and so they've rebranded.
I know about quality insurance.
That definitely Darwin does. Our other member of our crew, Raymond, don't call him Ray. Big shout outs to him. He also used to do a lot of quality assurance too. But I like the fact that where we're defining it quality engineering, because it definitely takes it to the next level. But go ahead and tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I worked mainly with just one other engineer. We were on the consumer side of quality engineering. So there's ads, there's consumer. We did consumer quality engineering, and I wrote back-end, I would call them API tests for a team at Twitter called the Timelines Infrastructure Team.
Oh, timelines. You know how important timeline is?
Yes.
So let me just let everybody else know how important timeline is. When you go into the app and you hit that scroll to refresh the timeline, that's the service that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Big ups to you on that.
So it was really exciting. I wrote tests like, when you block someone, do their tweets actually disappear from your timeline? Very important.
Yeah.
And I even got to work on some stuff for GDPR.
Oh, GDPR.
Scary.
It is very scary. And just to fill people in GDPR.
Yes, please do, because I'm trying to figure what that means.
I don't know. There was an episode we had a few back on our podcast talking about data and the mysterious idea that data is deleted, rather than what I've always felt like is we need regulation around it, because technically all of these companies say they delete it, but do they really delete it? And that's what GDPR put everybody's hands to the fire, especially out in Europe is where it really came
exactly.
out.
Europe started it, and then tech companies were like, well, if we don't comply, we can't operate in Twitter in Europe. That's why Twitter was like, we have to be compliant with GDPR, which meant we have to actually delete people's data. And we're saying we're deleting it. And the other thing is we have to let people download all of their data if they want to see it. And that's the part that I got to work on.
Oh, that's cool. Isn't that like almost a queuing service too? Because it's like you submit it and then it'll be like, hey, I'll tell you when it's downloaded, right?
Exactly, yeah. You're not going to get your data right away. It's going to kick off a job that's going to go and like assemble all of that and put it together. So you can download it. And my role was to test the tool that everyone would be using to download their data to make sure it could handle the load of everyone being like, oh, cool, I can download all of my data right now.
If you can imagine how much data that is, it's amazing that, number one, we was able to store that much. But then as a user, being able to get that query down to the level that validates all of my data. And I really appreciate your skill set as an engineer, because what you were talking about is that you're writing code to confirm that function actually does what it says it's going to do, right?
Yeah.
And that's why QA engineering, for me, I've always been respectful about QA engineering, because then they really validate that we can do what we say we do. Right?
Thank you very much.
Good. D Hustle says thank you, especially when I'm trying to delete something. For sure. So that's your time working at Twitter. So you went from intern into full-time opportunity. You did some quality engineering. Did you ever report up to Thaddeus? You remember Thaddeus?
Yeah. So Thaddeus was my intern manager, actually. My second internship.
Oh, that's what's up. Yeah. Let's give Thaddeus a big round of applause.
R.I.P.
Thaddeus. He's one of our black engineering managers that passed away. And I've always wanted to make sure I give him some space, because he helped a lot of you all get through that phase, right?
Yeah, he really did. He was, so like I said, he was my manager that summer that I ended up getting my full-time offer. So he was a huge part of that. He really advocated for me. He taught me a lot. Like, we met maybe every other week, but I started to realize, it would be better if I update him more. Yeah. And so I was sending like weekly updates to him on my progress during my internship. And in general, he was just like a very kind person, a nice person to see around the office. I would always see him at breakfast when I was full-time, even if I wasn't working directly with him, he would always check in on me.
Great spirit. And like I said, he was one of our only few. Yeah, for sure. Few black engineering managers that we had, especially the young ones coming up, to look up to and get some support in their development and growth. And I'll tell you, every time I go to a NSBE conference and I don't see Thaddeus there, it just reminds me of those moments, because he was one of those that was really not just holding the door open. He was like laying there and letting people just go through it, right?
Yeah, QE hired so many people from NSBE. Thad was a huge advocate for NSBE and for taking it seriously as a place to recruit from.
Yeah. Let's give him another big round of applause. R.I.P. Thaddeus, for sure. Awesome. So from QE to what else did you end up doing at Twitter? Because you were there for how long total?
I think 5 years.
5 years.
5
Look
years.
at that. Shout outs. That's like in Bay Area time. You like a veteran by then.
Exactly.
5 years? Look at you.
Yeah. It was a great 5 years. After QE, I actually just kind of sideways transitioned to the Timelines Infra team.
Oh, so you actually went to go work for Timelines.
Yeah.
Oh, big ups.
Yeah, I knew them. I was going to their meetings, and I thought what they worked on was really awesome.
Yeah. Nice. That's what's up. Now, in terms of that team, you all were considered tier one. Like, if it went down, there was definitely some pager duty type stuff, and the world knows about it, right?
Yes.
When your system starts to work. But how did you feel about that, working on systems at that scale and that potential impact?
I think the way I felt about it changed throughout my career. So at first, I was just like, I want to work on the coolest and most high traffic and most exciting thing, the place where all the new features are happening. Mm-hmm. And I just saw it as something cool. But later in my career, I saw it as like a place to learn from really smart people.
Yeah.
These people who are on Timelines, most of them have been at the company for like 7-10 years. They knew so much and they were so advanced in their careers. They were just happy to mentor me and teach me things. So,
sure.
At first it was like shiny new toy, but it really became like just an amazing place to learn and grow as an engineer.
Yeah, for sure. And I will say, in terms of services that used to go down, Timeline wasn't one of those that went down that often. So y'all were definitely doing some really good engineering over there. And big shout outs to that whole staff over there, because like I said, it's definitely impactful when you work on something where the world knows about it when it breaks. And Asia Taylor. Big shout outs to Asia Taylor.
Asia.
Yeah, we was down in Miami hanging out with Asia for a little bit, and with the Backstage with BobbyD conversation with her. And her and I was talking about the impact of compute. Like, it's like, hey, when compute goes down, all the things go, and the whole world knows about it. So it's definitely great that you got that experience earlier. But so, I'm not trying to jump too much into the whole Elon Musk coming in and shaking the feathers and doing all that stuff. But I just wanted to know, in terms of how did that all play out for you? Did you kind of, was out before? Is it something that you got caught up in? And just, just trying to get a calibration. Not spend too much time talking about Elon Musk. But what happened, Meryl?
Yeah, I was there when in April he was like, I'm going to buy Twitter. And yeah, at the time, everyone on my team was like, we're just, we really like working together. We're not going to let this change anything about our day-to-day as much as possible. But then I was caught in the first round of layoffs. Yeah, it was pretty sad. And then the rest of my team did not opt in. So the whole team's gone.
Yeah.
I didn't want to, but I mean, I had to.
I know, but we're sending that to his way, right? It's not because in general, I definitely had a lot of colleagues, peers, because I was out before. So I've overheard whispers of something going on, and I was right. And my mindset, I've already been through when Jack came and gone, and then we had different CEOs. I was like, I don't even want to go through that again. And I was out, and then I heard it was Elon, and I was like, this is going to be something different. And definitely know that in general, it's not you, right?
Thank you.
It's corporate. It's numbers and reasons why they decide to do certain things. But the big thing about that is that your bounce back is strong, right? Because you're always moving, and we definitely always trying to take us there. Yeah, for sure. So after, actually, one thing I wanted to talk about at Twitter also is one of the cool things that you and I both had the pleasure of being a part of is Employee Resource Group, ERG, called Blackbirds. And I'm just trying to, get calibrated on, or actually, let me take it back because I already know, is to get our audience, calibrated on the impact that had to your journey. So tell us a little bit about Blackbirds and how that helped you through your journey working at Twitter.
Yeah, Blackbirds was huge. I mean, there, first of all, just were not a lot of Black people in the engineering department when I first joined. And so if I knew them, it's because they like saw me and sought me out, basically.
Yeah.
So having a group of other Black people at work to hang out with was really fun. And just the activities and things that Blackbirds did really celebrated Blackness. And it's a part of my identity that I don't feel like came through as much as an engineer. Yeah. But when I was with Blackbirds, it was like the main focus.
Yeah, you were family then. It was like, yo, and she's an engineer too? Oh, we lit.
Yeah, it was just an amazing group. Like, we got to go to, what was it? NSBE.
Yes.
NSBE and like Twitter would put on this really cool party, and we got to talk to students all day at the conference. Nice. And just, be someone that they can look at and be like, oh, there's a place for me in this industry as a Black engineer.
Yeah, 100%. And I tell you, the impact that it had to me, because I'm one of those that, I mean, people knew about me, but I try to stay in the cut a little bit so you can develop and flourish. But did having somebody like me in terms of in the engineering organization help you, cope with the challenges that you dealt with?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think I met you at NSBE, actually. The first NSBE I went to. And just your sense of joy at being around all these other Black people.
I'm going to give you a shout out.
Come on, let me get my roses, bro. Come on, bro. Come on, D. Come on, bro.
Bro, I'll pay you an extra $20 just to tell me the truth.
No, I'm serious. He used to call me Lil Bit.
Yep,
That's my nickname. I really liked that. It felt like a family, and also just like you're in SRE. I have a lot of respect for SREs being on Timeline's infra, and so it was just really cool, like a Black SRE at Twitter, like who's really senior and really respected and doing really impressive things. That was very inspiring for me.
See, I didn't have to pay her for that to happen. You know that, D, right? You know that, right?
There you go, man. Just here's the 20.
He's sliding money under the table. Come on, player.
Tell us the real truth.
No, I will say that the one thing that I enjoy about my time working at Twitter is seeing the impact that my influence had on a group of you all. Because 2016, I was there already about 3-4 years moving, right? And I already figured out the hustle. I figured out the game. And I'm like, yo, if what I can do is show them how you can just be yourself or be that light and just shine it just a little bit, because I know y'all shine brighter than me. And oh my gosh, I will not forget that summer when y'all came through and just seeing how much that helped y'all develop. And then obviously seeing the impact that it has over your time. And you are right. It was tough being a Black engineer where you didn't see that many people look around that look like you. But definitely when you found one, we was like, Meryl, what's up, little bit? What's good with you? Everything's good over here a little bit.
Exactly. You really brought your whole self to work, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Because I had a hard time with that sometimes. So it was inspiring to see you're bringing your whole self to work and you're super successful and really smart and like well
She said I'm successful and smart. You see, D?
All right.
I told you.
$40. $40.
I told you I was smart.
50
I told you.
I told you.
Because you know what? He know I'm not going to stop when I get back home to tell him what you said about me.
This is true.
No, but it's actually kind of cool to hear just how that helped you and not just, a lot of the shiny things, but it's actually the low level concepts and tech stuff that you definitely mentioned in terms of respect, because it's like, yo, as an SRE, skill-wise, I'm not just, understanding code, but I'm understanding systems, I'm understanding infrastructure, and then the team I'm working on, we're orchestrating this whole thing, and then it's like, yo, one of y'all come and holler at me, it don't matter, I got you type stuff. It always just felt so good to make those type of contributions because I knew long-term how it's going to impact your journey, so thank you for those kind words, for sure. Appreciate you. Big shout-outs to Meryl. See that's why I invited her to this.
The offer still stands.
Awesome. So we're going to move on a little bit past Twitter, and definitely big shout-outs to Blackbirds. And you actually helped establish Black Engineers at Twitter, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Actually, talk to us a little bit about that, Black Engineers at Twitter.
Yeah, Black Engineers at Twitter was another employee resource group, but it was really internal facing. We didn't have, flashy events and stuff. It was really just about career growth. BobbyD and Chris Coco were kind of the first two to start it.
Yeah.
And it was just like reading papers, discussing them. And then we kind of branched out to more having, managers come in and talk about performance.
Yeah.
But the thing I got out of it the most was just visibility into, who the younger Black engineers are, and knowing and having me be a resource for them to ask questions.
Yeah.
I had, so I met with so many of them just to talk about how to communicate with your manager and like what is a manager for, and things I dealt with going from SWE 1 to SWE 2.
Yeah.
So that was the best part of it for me, was that I didn't feel so burnt out, to be honest, when I was able to mentor a lot of younger Black engineers and help them grow too in their careers.
Big shout outs to Meryl on that. Yeah. I mean, I remember one of the meetings that you all had me come in and do a little speaking on. And Mike Matano was in there. And then, so Mike Matano at the time was like the head of all engineering. And then he's like, everybody's asking a few questions. He's like, all right, does anybody else have any questions? And everybody's getting a little quiet. I was like, oh, hold on. I got one question, Mike. And the way that I even said it, he looked at me and was like, all right, what's up, Bobby? And then the room automatically didn't really realize that I knew Mike from when he was actually at a keyboard as an engineer. So we already had some type of relationship. And one of the things that I was able to really convey to him is like the impact that this group, like Black engineers in terms of ICs, because these were ICs, not managers, is like, yo, when we're going to see stuff like this on the manager side of the house, because we only had Thaddeus at that time, right? And that was something that I felt like, number one, in that moment with all the young Black engineers, seeing that gave them, the feeling like, hey, we can speak up and talk about really impactful stuff. But then also seeing the results of that, because the results of that is that then we started to have Black engineering managers come through. And most of them, I'm not accrediting them to me because they have to get through the interview process and stuff like that. But more or less, it's like giving you all the power to talk about that, especially when you have somebody like Mike Matano at the table. I was just so amazed by the results of that, right? Because it's like, I'm not just planting a seed, but I'm making sure I pour something in there for it to grow. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. And that group helped retain, I think it helped retain Black engineers in general at Twitter, like just having a place where we can talk to each other about career development and get advice and just see other people who might be dealing with similar things. Was really big for all of them.
Oh my gosh, we talking some mile marker type stuff. We changing the orbit of the Earth and changing how people think, and definitely mindset wise. So Meryl, if anybody hasn't told you, I really do appreciate all you've ever done working over there. It definitely is something, especially somebody like me on the sideline watching you grow. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe where you're at, what you've gone through, and the things that you've achieved. And the impact that you've made in a lot of people's lives. So congratulations to her. Give her a big round of applause.
Thanks.
And you see, she didn't pay me for that. No. All right, Meryl. So definitely want to move on a little bit in topic because I want to kind of get an understanding of where you're at right now. So tell me where you're at in your journey. Let us know what things you're interested in, things that you're, really dabbling in. And definitely talk about some tech because I don't think we talked about, your programming language, where your proficiency is at. But
before you start.
Yeah.
The office still starts. This is time to come clean, right?
A little more.
A little, you got up
Yeah.
it, up it. No. Look at that, D, right? What's up, Meryl?
Yeah. In terms of programming languages, at Twitter, I used Scala the whole time.
Yeah.
And it was not Scala 3 also. We never upgraded to that. So coming out of Twitter and looking for a job, I was like, okay, I need a language that is a little bit easier for people to read, like an interviewer. So I picked up Python.
Okay.
And that's what I've been doing a lot of lately is a lot of Python. That's what I did in my most recent job too, working at Pilot. I used only Python there, which was really cool.
Yeah. I have in terms of my contributions now is I do a lot of mentor coaching, and one of the organizations that I spend a lot of time with is CodePath. You and I were talking about it briefly. And one of the things I tell them is like, all those other languages are cool. I get it. They're cool. But of all the hundreds of interviews that I've done, the one that candidates get through the most and I can actually understand their competency level is Python, right?
Yeah.
And I don't have to worry about semicolon, this, that, and this, building all these constructs and building all this stuff. And object-wise, it's like, can you write a function, indentation, now I know you know what we're talking about type stuff. So yeah, big ups to you picking up Python.
Thanks. Yeah, that's also exactly how I came to the decision of Python, as being an interviewer at Twitter. I was like, this is the easy. I don't know Python, but I can read it and I can actually help people debug it.
Yeah, yeah. And you are right. It's very readable, and also it's like the way that it's written, that's the way that it works. Yeah. And then there's too many damn libraries out there, so you can do just about everything. Yeah. That's what's up. So tell us a little bit more about your journey. Where you're at right now in terms of like skill wise. So we went from Scala to Python, and what are you dabbling in?
Right now, I've been trying to learn React, mostly just to work on stuff on my own, like maybe some web stuff. I haven't done a lot of front end. I'm like very, very back end focused. Yeah. So React is making my brain work in a different way, but also it's JavaScript, so it's not just like learning straight HTML, which would be really hard. So I've been taking like an online class, self-paced, in React, and I think I'll be able to do some cool things with it.
That's awesome. Big up to you. And as a technologist, obviously working on things on the side or continue to develop skills, I definitely feel like you're embracing that, right? Because I think a lot of newer, engineers, they think, hey, this is just what I'm going to do. And it's like, hey, if you don't keep these knives sharp, they get dull too quick. And then if you want to display, skill sets, you got to always be working on the next cool thing. I'm not a front end type person. I can't even put outfits together. All I wear is black on black because I just cannot really match and really just get that artistic type outing through stuff like that. So I've never really embraced front end like that in terms of just, user experience and user graph. And I just don't. I'm a back end engineer. I want just you call this API. This is your expected results and things like that. But it's always cool to develop the skills. But yeah, so in terms of like being out here in the Bay, you've gone back to Chicago lately, or how's home doing? How's the family doing? How's all that stuff going?
Yeah, Chicago's great. I go back a few times a year. When's the last time I went back? I think, I went in April. It was my mom's birthday, and we went to Indiana to see the eclipse.
Happy birthday, Mom. Happy birthday. And you went to go see the eclipse?
Yeah. We saw the totality in Indianapolis, which was amazing.
Oh, that's nice. Was it like a stadium type thing, like they had in Dallas, where they went to the Dallas stadium and they had it all open? Or
we were just outside. Yeah. Just right outside a hotel. Like you could take your glasses off and look right at it, which was crazy.
Yeah. But oh my gosh, that's just thinking about as quickly as it happens in terms of light switch turn off and gets dead dark and then switch back on, it's definitely something amazing to experience in life. Yeah. So in terms of the Bay, how long are you going to be out here in the Bay? I mean, you've been holding it down for a minute though.
I know. I don't really know. I live in the Presidio specifically, like right by Baker Beach. It's beautiful. I love it. Rent is decent.
I don't know where it's at, but it sounds good.
And she said something, rent is decent.
And there's free parking.
Oh, look at that. City life, right?
Exactly. And I can park my 30-year-old Honda there without it getting stolen.
Shout out to the 30-year-old Honda. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
Big fan.
You're talking to a car guy over here at D Hustle.
All right.
Anything old, especially if you have to crank it to get it started.
Yeah. I have the crank windows too.
DX.
Oh my god!
That's the
yeah,
DX
the DX.
That's what I'm talking
You see, he
about.
even knew which one it was.
It's turquoise, 1993.
Four-door?
Two-door.
Two-door coupe?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
that's
it has like maybe 47,000 miles on it.
What? How in the world?
My grandma gave it to me.
Shout out to grandma.
She's like, I'm driving to the grocery store and driving back. That's it. So, yeah.
Wow. You see how he already knew what the car is?
The
That's
price
amazing.
might have to come up for you.
He's actually now you're negotiating other things, D?
I'm going to have to buy the car by the end of the show.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
wow.
Two-door coupe, Honda Accord. Those are the best, man. They don't make like those anymore.
No, they don't.
I had a 91 just like yours, four-door. DX had to crank that window.
Yeah.
No sunroof.
Yeah. That actually makes me want to bring up something in terms of like the evolution of technology, right? Because we're talking about cranking up the window where you're winding it up versus just having a button that you press down.
You know
and
what?
up.
I take those all day.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, a regulator fault messes up on the regular power window.
Yeah.
You gotta take everything out.
For sure.
Put it back. You don't want to fry any wires. Shout out to those 90 Hondas.
So our show is full of tech engineering and the culture, and this definitely checks that box
Yeah.
for the culture. But one thing about like evolution, right, is I wanted to get your opinion in terms of where we're at in tech, right? Is like we're definitely dealing with an era where AI is mentioned and plastered off of everything. You have still a lot of people interested in getting into tech. So I just wanted to get your opinion in terms of where you feel we at and where we're going.
In terms of where we're at, we're definitely at a crossroads here with AI. And I feel like I would tell people to just, you don't have to jump into it. Mm-hmm. Definitely know how to use it. Don't be afraid of it. Like if you're I learned how to use like GitHub Copilot at work, and you can't just let it write everything for you. You know, that's the thing. It's not replacing us now.
Do you hear that, Raymond?
So we got another member of our team, Raymond. Don't call him Ray Ray, and he's scared, terrified of AI, right? And if anything talks about taking jobs, he's the first one to jump in front of it. But I think you are right in terms of familiarizing yourself with it because it is around the corner.
Yeah, know how to use it. Like I don't know, way back when word processors came out and typing, it's like don't be afraid of it. It's not going to take your job. Just know how to use it. Yeah. Get ahead of it. So that's my feeling. Don't change your whole career. Build skills in your own area, but also figure out how you're going to have to incorporate AI tools in the future. Yeah. And I think companies are doing the same thing. They're not just being like, well, we're not going to exist because of AI. They're saying like, how can we use AI to make our product better, or to like create more content or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. And if I think about just in terms of your skill set, quality engineer, right? You can see code that's being written and be like, you can't ship this or you can't do this, or the expectation is that you have to be more test-driven developer, right? It's like, hey, as long as it must meet this requirements in terms of test before we can move things forward. So I think your past experience definitely is giving you some more insights into, the quality of code that's being produced by these AI co-pilots, quote unquote.
Do you feel like you have to double check your work when you do with AI?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, one time I relied on it a little too much, writing some code, and it was just kind of garbage code, and the tests were not well written, and it can copy paste things pretty well, but you need to add the human element and be like, does this make sense? Yeah. Is this actually testing something? Will my tests fail if things aren't working?
Yeah. Yes. For 100%. So
listen to that.
Definitely.
A lot of people just go with whatever the AI does, and that's not how it is.
Right. Yeah. And just because your tests are green doesn't mean they're good tests.
That's actually a really good gem. Let's give her that. If your tests are green, that doesn't mean it's a good test. That's actually a real funny one. Actually, a little key, I was watching this coding competition. And it was at some university, and it was the first time I saw it, and I was like, all right, let me see them. They're using Python to answer some lead code style questions, right? And I'm like, all right, and one of the first tests one of the first lines of code that they added was just return false. And they returned false, and 25 of the tests passed. And I'm like, what? Like, how in the world is that even possible? It's like mindset-wise, you are right. Just because it says it's green doesn't mean the code is good, right? Yeah. So definitely want our audience, especially those that are getting into tech, to keep that in mind. And I think that's a really good segue in terms of what advice would you have for the next generation of like-minded people that were at Brown or in high school interested in computer science? What advice would you give them in terms of getting into the field now?
Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like one big thing that we kind of miss with remote is just people, relationships.
Like running to BobbyD at the office, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I really miss that. And I would say keep in contact with your network. Like one thing that happened this year was that I was feeling like I really missed my coworkers from Twitter. And I was like, my friend was like, why don't you just reach out to them? And everyone was really happy to meet up with me or Zoom with me. Yeah. They missed me too. So my first advice is definitely keep in contact with your network. Just meet up with people for coffee. Your network is going to be really helpful in getting you jobs and just learning things. And also just having people to give you advice is huge.
Yeah.
I think another thing is, along with that, find mentors. It's harder in the remote world we live in now to find mentors. Like I just met you at Nesby. I met Chris Coco around the office. I met Susan around the office. These are just people I had random encounters with, but we don't have as many random encounters now.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
Yeah, reach out to people, see if they'll mentor you. Like, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. But mentors are really important. And yeah, it's a little hard to find them now, but they're out there and they want to mentor.
Yeah, for sure. And I did want to give a big shout out to my guy, Chris Coco. What up, Chris Coco?
Hi, Coco.
Yo, my guy, for sure. And I tell you, one of the things that I really take away from this advice in terms of just your network is your net worth is something I've tell a lot of people, right? And keeping connections with them, right? It's even when I was thinking about, pulling up the SF, I'm like, let me go holler at Meryl. It's like having that connection and definitely helping you on your journey and you're helping me on my journey. That's how we get to where we're trying to go, right? And it's there's a saying it's like, hey, to get somewhere fast, you go along, and to get somewhere good, you go to in a group. Or I can't remember the exact saying. We'll get the wording right somewhere in there. But in general, it's like we have to really just have that type of connection to really develop and grow. And truly, like, even me, like, as an engineer, one of the things that I always needed was somebody that I looked up to, and I had to push myself, even though people looked up to me. It's like I had to have someone to look up to, and that's why I always shout out Chris Coco, because in terms of me, I always looked up to him in terms of skill set and his contributions. Is that community is so powerful, and I definitely words of wise, and y'all have heard it from Meryl first. Definitely, really much appreciate that. Ooh. Big shout out. All right, Meryl, so we're getting close to the end of our conversation here.
Hold on.
Oh, no more money on the table, D.
$80. $80.
Okay, I'll take it.
All right.
Wow. Can you believe that? $80. That's wow. And a free ride.
Free ride. Wow.
I got you.
Oh my gosh. But Meryl, before we close out, I want to give you an opportunity to ask me any questions. This is like, at the end of the interview, they're like, hey, do you have any questions for me? Right? It's like, do you have anything, you want to throw on the table, ask me about? This is your space. And definitely, if we're done, we'll close it out because we got music queued up and ready to go. But what's up, Meryl?
Oh, I kind of have a lot of questions because I think it's...
Let's go. The clock is not, there's no stop on the clock. Let's go.
I think it's really cool that you are not behind the keyboard anymore and you're doing a podcast. That's really inspiring. Taking the stuff that you learn and like inspiring tons and tons of people instead of just the people you work with by having the podcast. So one, how did you come up with this?
How did I come up with the podcast? So late night I was dreaming. No. So one of the things that I've always felt about my experience at Twitter is that a lot of people ask me like, yo, what type of mentor were you? And one of the things that I always tell them is that I felt like I was a cultural mentor, right? I wasn't only just here to help you figure out what's going on a keyboard, but I wanted you to change your mindset about you because I can see you be you, not you be you in front of them. No, I want you to be you, right? And one of the things that really just helped me embrace that even more is like the results in terms of impact, like you, BobbyD, Tayu, Asia Taylor, like just seeing those results. Is like, yo, I got to find a way to impact my community as directly as possible. Like, how can I take what I've done at Twitter and turn it up to 100,000, right? So I do speaking on stage. I do a lot of public speaking. I do community outreach with mentorship and coaching, but nothing comes through more fluent than me being right here in front of the camera, being BobbyD and just being myself and really just taking that as the next level of the type of impact I want to make globally, because I want globally to get this type of sauce and I'm dripping. Like, it ain't nothing new, right? It's like I'm trying to do the best that I can to just reflect that. And then obviously the credibility comes with, I tell a lot of people like, hey, you may not know who I am, but you've definitely been impacted by the things that I've done, right? And I say, hey, have you ever worked on that or used that social media company, the one with the little blue bird? Remember that one? Yeah, you didn't know that I was back there doing this, doing that. And overall, that just helps that continued flow of making the impact. So that's the real reason why I'm in these streets. And the more I give, the more I will receive eventually. Because I'm pouring. But at the end of the day, it's just the results and definitely having opportunities to see, the world become a better place so that we can be viewed differently. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I appreciate the question.
But if you want to tell us now.
Come on, dude.
We're more than welcome.
But no, that's the reason why we started the podcast and we do, community development, newsletter. We do a published monthly newsletter. But yeah, that's the reason why.
Yeah.
Thank you for the question. Look at Meryl out here getting me to really almost drop a tear. Almost.
Oh.
No.
The other one, related to that is just what was it like taking the leap, like leaving Twitter, leaving the keyboard, leaving the tech career, at least for now.
Yeah.
And
thank you.
doing something totally different and not tech. And what was that like for you?
Oh man, you don't know how many nights I was dreaming and manifesting about this stuff. And I'm one of those that I tell my wife that I have a superpower. Like when I get obsessive about something, I get too obsessive about it. And for her, it's like you're just too damn obsessive, right? But it is something that I really dreamt of seeing. So I'm still working towards the thing that I've envisioned. And one of the things that I had to do was take that leap. I talked to my mom about it, and she was like, you know what? You've always been somebody that I've never had doubt that you're not going to be able to get to where you got to go. And she told me when you jump, just jump with your eyes open. So don't be afraid of it, right? And with the support of my family, supported D Hustle saying he's going to ride with me and hold it down, even though he's trying to pay somebody off on the side, though. But it's just that support that I have around me has really just given me the feeling of, like, hey, they're going to hold me down as we go on this journey because it's going to be tough. And I will say, I miss the keyboard. I do miss it, especially at that level of engineering. It's once in a lifetime, right?
Yeah.
And the experience of, black engineers at Twitter, that's once in a lifetime, right? So I was definitely grateful for having those experiences, but I needed to tell the world, right? I needed to get out there so that other people can see, number one, what we've done, and we can get credit for it instead of somebody else be like, yo, it's all crap. And then all of a sudden, like, hey, I want to build everything on it. Like, I don't even know what Elon's talking about. But anyways, it just was really tough to make that decision. I knew what the impact would be. And then you said something earlier is that I can get back at it because they ain't got nothing on me because I'm an 80s baby. I came up from a different type of era. I can get back anytime I want. So I'm not really, thinking that I'm retired and never going to be at the keyboard again. It's just right now it is a pause. And at that time, my family is what gave me that support. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, family is huge. Having your support.
Or I'll be stressed. Even though I got all these gray hairs, can you believe I got grays like this?
No, I don't see any.
You don't see any? You see?
Use some dye.
Thank you, Meryl. Thank you so much. Awesome. That was a really great question, and thank you for that. Anything else on the top of your mind here?
Those were the ones on my mind, but really inspiring what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I do want to say thank you for being a part of this journey. We're writing this in time and nobody can take it away from us, right? Yeah. So definitely very much appreciate you, making a trip out here to come and holler at us, laugh a little bit and have a really good conversation because I think it's definitely going to be impactful, not just to me, because I got a tear coming out of my eye, but impactful to our audience and definitely those that are going to come and hear us later. So big shout outs to you, Meryl. Little bit is out here. Cue up the music, D Hustle.
Question for both.
Bro, I'm trying to cue up the music, man.
I'm gonna give it to you.
All right. Go ahead. What's up?
As both of you being ex-Twitter, do you guys ever think that there will be another Blackbird, another one now that Elon Musk is there?
No, not there. Not in that
not
building.
There, yeah.
Not in that building. I don't really think there can be another one because it was something that was really, really special. And it was really the group that came up to help reignite and develop it, and then the impact that we had in terms of our community outside. What would you say, Meryl?
Yeah, I agree. Just the timing of the Blackbirds community growing at the same time that Twitter was growing so much, and all these things that happened at the same time, like going to see the Black Panther movie, I feel like that just built up the excitement. Nice. And there is Black Twitter, like it existed outside of the building. Yeah. So I don't know how you'd create those conditions.
I don't know either. And talking about Black Twitter, did you see the Hulu episode of Black Twitter yet?
No.
So the Hulu just did a micro documentary. It's a few different parts about Black Twitter, which they did bring in some people from Blackbirds, but it's mostly Blackbirds out in New York. They ain't coming to holler at us over here where we really started and stuff like that. And we out here engineering and stuff like that. But much love. All I want to say is Hulu, yo, write me a check. I'll do a whole Blackbirds, Black Engineers, and Meryl will be starring it. BobbyD will be there. Chris Coco will be, D Hustle will be holding it down. Bobby Toon, all of us will be there. So Hulu, I'm putting in a plug. I'm manifesting that in the future. But thank you so much, Meryl, for that great conversation, enlighten us on your journey. And man, I'm so grateful.
I'm so grateful for you.
For sure. D Hustle, where we at with that music, player? Oh, yeah. Yo, I don't know about y'all, but all the things that we've just been recording, hit that button right there. You know the Raymond, don't call him Ray. Yeah, them gems, right? All the gems that we've been dropping today, I want y'all to continue to tune in. There's a button that's called rewind. You press that button, it goes back, and then you play it again because Meryl was dropping some gems. For sure. And then you heard a few good things about me too, you know, Bobby D. Thanks a lot, D. Always holding it down, but always definitely thank y'all for tuning in to Backstage with Bobby D. We got more episodes coming through. Meryl, little bit, keep doing you. We appreciate you. All right?
All right.
Take care of yourself.
Thanks so much.
Turn it up.